Welcome, everyone, to the Electric Honk podcast with me, MachineDaena.
And me, Salmon.
Meister General.
Salmon Meister General, the SMG.
We've actually put a little bit of organisation in today's podcast. We've got a lot of stuff coming up today, Salmon.
We have got a lot on today's, actually. The subject of today's podcast is, or the title is, Amber Heard a Honk.
Amber Heard a Honk. Now, where would that title be leading to?
Mr. J. Depp.
J. Depp.
And his court case.
The man, the myth, the legend.
We've got some other subjects. We're going to talk about potentially nuclear war. We've got Elon Musk take over Twitter. We've got the Wagatha Christie case. 1,000 farts. That's a key subject.
1,000 farts, very core topic, that.
National Lottery. We're going to get into what it's like to win the lottery, as I've won it multiple times myself. We've got Top Shelf coming up. A nice little alcohol section where we're going to give you a recommendation of a strange, lesser-known alcohol that you're probably going to be able to find in a bar somewhere and let you know if it's worth buying. Headliner, I've got 3 daft headlines to run through. Dana's going to pick one. I've got some Goose news, as always. Pork scratchings.
I'm looking forward to this pork scratching.
A very exciting subject for us to go through. And then we'll look at what's coming up between now and the next podcast, which is mainly sport-related, but...
just a few things to get through.
It's action-packed this week.
Yeah. So what have you been up to anyway, mate, this last week or two?
Well, I've been going back to the office a lot more than I have been post-COVID. As you well know, over the past however many years, I do not poo at work, however much I need to.
Oh, yeah, you can't poo at work.
That Family Guy song, I can't poo in strange places. It's a bit like that. However, going back to the office post-COVID, there's only a handful of people in every time. And every time I go to the loo, you got the lights that turn off after a certain time period when no one's been in. Every time we go to the toilet,
safe.
The lights are off, and I'm thinking, no one's been in there for ages. This is a safe space.
Do you still try to squeeze it out rather quickly, or do you actually take your time?
No, I'm quite relaxed until I hear footsteps and somebody comes in, and you're like, oh, come on, like this was my time. But I'm getting there.
I'm proud of you, mate.
Yeah, it's really in the right direction, isn't it?
It's a big deal. Me and my mates used to brag about getting paid to poo.
Yeah,
the longer you can poo, the more you're getting paid for doing a poo.
Yeah. But so I'm treating it as a pay rise.
I'm treating it as a pay rise. I've had a pay cut. I work in an office. There's not many people there, so I can't just disappear for like 20 minutes and take a big long turn.
You're coming at it from a different angle, yeah.
Yeah. So I've gone the opposite way. I'm turning a lot less, and when I do, it's like 2 minutes, man. Yeah, quick as you like.
Nightmare.
Always wash your hands, of course. So,
yeah.
I'm really proud of you, mate. You got something on there, 3 lions. I'm curious about this thing.
This was a headline that came up in a couple of the shitter, for want of a better word, news sites and newspapers. So Daily Mail, Sky News, The Sun, and things like that.
Okay.
They came out with the FA were considering dropping 3 Lions as their official song because...
I didn't know that it was the official song.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure about that either. Or at least stopping to play it at England games because it was potentially deemed offensive. The reference was the fact that it's coming home and saying that football is England's own game, and so they're trying to be a bit more political correct and choose them all.
That's ultra woke, isn't it?
Well, this is where I was going to go with this because that headline is set to annoy people and get people wound up.
Oh yeah,
and I think I reckon there's so little truth behind that story that the FA or whoever's decision it was aren't being extra woke. I think the media are actually just trying to rile people up and get them angry and click on it because it's been proven that the one emotion that gets people to click on a link is anger. I think that it's just a word of caution, really, that headlines like that, when you see them, you think, oh, that's an absolute disgrace. The world's going absolutely mad.
And actually,
it's not really.
Not as bad as. Yeah. They like to spin it. What we've been up to this weekend, just gone. We did go out on a night out. We've not been on a night out for a little while, have we?
Yeah, it's been a while.
You and I, and then a couple of other lads from Australia, right?
Yeah, so my old housemate that I lived with for a while is from Australia, now living in Manchester. He's a good friend of ours. And one of his friends who currently living in Paris, but is Australian, was coming over to England. I don't know if it was his first time, but certainly first time in Manchester. So our friend said, can we all take him for a night out?
let's show him a good time. I want to show him that I've got great mates in the UK.
That's it, yeah.
And we know how to have a good time. Let's set a really high bar.
Yeah.
And to be fair, it was really good crack.
It was. I mean, if you were going to plan a night out for a foreigner to come over to Manchester, like you're thinking like Deansgate, all the big bars in Manchester, all the best places.
We did not go to Deansgate.
We went out in a small area called Chorlton, which is quite a trendy, nice little place.
Pretty trendy, yeah.
Had a nice pizza and then made our way to I guess you'd describe it as a working men's club.
So working men's clubs in the UK are basically like, they're a dying breed really, aren't they?
Yeah.
You just get loads of them.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like really cheap beer. You know, you're always paying like 50% less for the beer.
You usually have to be a member.
You don't have to be a member to go in. And it's like old furniture, a bit dingy, kind of like the average age there was like probably 65,
if
maybe a bit more.
Yeah.
Like really old school market.
Yeah.
We make a point of always trying to go to these places when we go out because it's just a totally different scene to go to.
It's incredible.
It's so dumb.
It's stepping into another world.
Yeah. And we walked in and it was just like quiet, wasn't it? Everyone sat down. Even the music wasn't that loud.
Yeah.
So
to be fair, when we walked in, I was expecting us probably to stay for one drink. And I thought,
we were there for a good hour and a half, 2 hours.
we were there, until the end. Everywhere else was closed pretty much by the time we left there, wasn't it?
So cheap drinks. We drank a drink called an Australian Blob, right?
Yeah, so we saw a bottle of, I think it was wine, hung up. You know when you've got all the spirits hung up, you've got like whiskey and vodka and gin and all this sort of stuff. There was an Australian wine.
In true electric honk, top shelf fashion.
Yeah, we thought,
decided,
let's do some research for the podcast. And actually having Australians with us at a time, we were like, surely they'll know what this is.
They didn't know.
Neither of them had a clue what it was.
No.
So it was this Australian liqueur wine stuff, which you have with, was it lemonade and something?
I think like warm water. She was literally heating up.
Microwaving
water.
it, wasn't she? Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And sugar.
Oh, yeah, that's
lemon.
right. Yeah.
And that
so
was
like
it.
water, sugar, and lemon microwaved.
Yeah.
Ding!
Like we're in a bar. And she's literally microwaving hot water for us.
Yeah. And actually, I enjoyed it. I thought it was
quite nice. Yeah.
So a few of the other older gentlemen in that bar knew what it was, and they referred to it as a blob. And then the bar lady, Mary, I think she was called.
Mary,
we had
a
good photo with her at the end, didn't we?
Yeah.
She said it's referred to as a blob, even though that's not the official name, but it was an Australian liqueur wine thing that we had, and that was great.
So yeah, if you're out and about, try the Australian wine blob. If you ever see it in a bar, it's actually not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
I did say to her when I walked in, I said, how long is it since someone's drank the Cinzano? Because I saw there's a little bit of Cinzano. I thought, I'd never drink this. Let's give it a go. Yeah. And she said, nah, I'd stay away from that. So that had obviously been sat there for a long while. Fair play to her.
Yeah.
She's like, most of the places you don't get that, do you? You'd be like, you'll pour it, you throw shitting through the eye of a needle the following
day. Yeah. Good old Mary was trustworthy.
They did let us take over the speakers. We became DJs, right?
We did, yeah.
There was only about 30 people in there. Tops.
Yeah, I'd say 20 max, really.
We had a bit of a few games of darts and that kind of stuff. We're just kind of taking over the place, and we managed to get our own Spotify connected to the Working Man's Club speakers.
Yeah, well, they had a smart speaker, didn't they?
Yeah.
And Mary was shouting at it like, Alexa, turn up the volume. Alexa, please. We asked for Sweet Caroline, which is a classic, and then she was like, Alexa, play Sweet Carolina. And it was just playing some absolutely random song, and it wasn't working at all.
So yeah, we were blasting out all kinds of tunes on this Spotify thing, and then we're pretty hammered by the end of it, weren't we?
We thought about playing the Electric Arm podcast out to the.
No, we did at one point.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. They were listening to. They probably didn't realise it, but they were listening to the Electric Arm podcast for a short time.
And then I think I suggested a soundtrack called 100 Farts, and Daena took it to the next level and went 1,000 Farts.
And there's actually a song on Spotify called 1,000 Farts.
Yeah.
And it's literally just 1,000 different varieties of farts.
Yeah.
And I lost it.
Yeah.
I was just on the floor.
We were all in tears.
Dying, yeah.
Because the speaker was set to full volume. You got all these old men like playing cards or having a chat with their old ale, like pint of ale in the corner and stuff.
And then 1,000 Farts comes on. the funny thing is, they were all finding it hilarious. The bar lady, Mary, didn't give a fuck.
Yeah, she didn't care.
She was just like, oh, well, it's 1,000 Farts. I've seen a few things.
I think a few of the guys, like Liam and his mate, were like had to leave the room because they were laughing too much, and in the end we all lost our breath a bit, didn't we? Just laughing, and we had to turn it off.
A British lottery winner
Oh yeah,
won 184 million quid on the lottery just a few days ago.
Nuts, isn't it?
And he woke up. He didn't watch it on TV. It was like a day or so later that he checked it. And
who actually watches the lottery live on telly?
That's fair. It used to be like a family occasion, 15 years ago. Oh, sit around the TV and see if you become a millionaire.
I've got one number. Okay.
One number, yeah. This guy, his wife was asleep. He found out they won the lottery. He didn't even wake her up to tell her. He waited until how polite is this guy to wait until
I think I'd do the same, to be fair.
I think that's amazing. He took his dog
he went
for a
out
walk.
for a dog walk at 5:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
Found out he won 184 million and went back to bed without waking her up.
He couldn't get to sleep, obviously.
And then he said he was searching for houses with no maximum value on the search.
He's browsing for houses, with no budget. I mean, you'd do it, wouldn't you?
You would.
What an absolute legend, though. But they seem like a really working class, decent couple.
Yeah.
I always wonder why anyone would ever go public with something like that. But I personally couldn't. If I won, I just think you put a target on your back personally. I don't know if that's a great idea.
I don't see what the benefit is to go public.
Exactly.
What's the single benefit that you might think? Okay, yeah, let's go public. Other than all of your neighbours gossiping, oh my god, have you seen the new car they've bought? Do you reckon they're the big lottery winners and stuff like that?
Yeah.
You cut out all the gossiping and lay it out there, I suppose. But I don't know.
I don't get it. I think you're opening yourself up. I don't think it's a great idea. But
I guess they're going to get a load of charities and things approaching them on a daily basis now, saying can you give 50 grand to help our cause and stuff?
What would be the first thing you'd buy if you won 184 million pounds?
I'm not sure what the first thing I'd buy is. Probably some sort of alcohol, but the first first major thing. Oh yeah, the white Disaronno. That's what I got and buy.
The white Disaronno, the velvet.
Yeah,
white velvet.
The best thing I'd buy, I think, would be I'd buy Carlisle United.
You'd buy Carlisle?
I think
yes.
so.
I'm finding that. Yes, mate. But how much do you reckon Carlisle United cost these days?
I've genuinely got no idea.
Sure, you can pick them up for 5 or 10 million.
You reckon?
I reckon, yeah.
I haven't got a clue how much lower league football clubs are worth.
Yeah, I reckon. It can't be more than 7 or 8 million, I reckon.
Right, and then you've got another 180 million to invest.
I know,
in transfers.
Going to the top.
Yeah.
Jesus.
What about you? What would you do with 184 million?
If I had 184 million quid, I think it'd be really interesting to buy a warehouse and turn it into a content warehouse and take a cut of content creators, but you then promote them and stuff as well.
So stuff like we're doing?
Stuff like what we're doing,
okay,
yeah. But go out there and attract some sort of medium to heavy hitters, get them in there, promote them a lot more. There's a full house of different things they can do, massive warehouse.
Yeah.
They do this in America. There's 3 or 4 of them in America.
Okay, right.
A lot of the esports companies do it. I think that'd be a pretty cool thing to
so
do.
You could probably
basically do it for 10 million.
Go into a business that you like the idea of.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'd still probably have 170 million pocket change after that.
Yeah, exactly. What I like the idea of is, you remember the Nike advert where they played in a cage? It was 5-a-side football in a cage, and Eric Cantona was a referee.
Oh my god!
Anyway, that's worth looking up. Put Nike advert cage football or something on YouTube.
I remember that.
Little less conversation,
little more action.
I would love to recreate that and just invite my mates to play 5-a-side on that all the time.
We could probably do that. I think with the footage, the fat guy version of the old Nike
dad
advert.
lad version.
Yeah. Right, what have we got here?
Here's the bag of dreams.
Can you see that? Yeah. Happy days. The bag of dreams. It's going to persist, that, isn't it? We'll have to frame it at some point.
I'm going to do the big reveal. Can
you see that?
Here we go.
Nope.
So this is the alcohol of the week. Does that show up on the screen yet? Oh, nice.
So a little bit touch.
Yeah. This is called Maraschino.
Maraschino.
Right, Maraschino liqueur. And it is an alcohol made out of these maraschino cherries.
Right.
And they're a very specific cherry. So I've got a little bit of information to read to you about this alcohol.
It looks like Russian vodka.
It does, doesn't it? With a little straw.
For the listeners here, it's got a beige coloured, kind of old school looking label.
Of straw.
It's a clear liquid. Oh, it's made out of straw. Okay. Yeah, like a wicker wrapped vodka type bottle with a red top on it, screw top, and it's a clear liquid inside, so almost like vodka or sambuca or something like that.
It does look like that.
And it says Bouton Mosquito, and it's
Mosquito.
It's Italian
Maraschino,
and it's 32%.
Yeah.
So right, let's have a bit more info.
So in the 18th century, when King George III was on the throne in England, he absolutely loved this drink. The whole British royal family started to get into it as a result of him loving it so much, and they would send British warships to the Mediterranean to bring back cases of this alcohol.
Wow.
It's basically these marasca cherries mixed with water, alcohol, and sugar. That's essentially all it is. So it's like cherry liqueur, really.
Okay.
So this actual brand and this actual drink won the grand prize at the Universal Exhibition in Paris in 1900.
1900? Oh, wow.
1900.
I just got back from Paris a few weeks ago, so that's like quite prevalent for me.
A Universal Exhibition and the grand prize, and this drink won it.
Wow.
So it's been said that maraschino, or the marasca cherry, is the basis of the artificial cherry flavour that you get in sweets.
Do you want to do the
Can
honors?
I suggest that we try a cherry first and then try the liqueur?
You can pop my cherry anytime, mate.
Hold on.
Ooh. So that was the cherry pop.
That was the cherry pop.
Okay.
You are.
Okay. Let's have a little whirl of this. Oh, this
is history
just
in the making.
Cherry. Oh, okay.
These are supposed to be like the best cherries in the world.
Oh my God.
Was it good?
They are unbelievably good. Oh my God.
Oh. They almost taste a bit alcoholic.
Yeah. They are so good. Oh, I've got to let Gemma try one of them.
Yeah. No
That'll be a great wedding gift to someone.
Some proper sweet cherries there.
So we have to remind viewers at this point to always drink. I nearly said irresponsibly then. Always drink responsibly.
Smell-wise,
I
don't know if I've just suddenly got COVID again. But I can't really smell much from it.
Smells like cleaning product.
Does it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. That doesn't smell good at all.
Oh yeah, it smells more strong from the shot glass.
I'm
Right.
Not a fan of the smell, and it's quite a big shot, isn't it?
So what's it called again?
This is Bouton is the brand, and it's maraschino,
Maraschino.
and that is the liqueur made from marasca cherries.
All right, chin.
Cheers.
Ooh,
I like it.
It's got a bit of a kick to it.
It has. It's got that kind of like alcoholic, like.
But it's not horrible. It's still got that sweet undertone to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can
I
tell
think
it's a liqueur.
the cherry taste that comes through is nice.
Yeah.
But the alcohol is like
Gets up your nose a little bit.
Does that?
Yeah. Oh, it's good that. I
got
like
an
that.
alcoholic
We're
kick.
gonna have to figure out what to do with that. I think that's a night out in the making, mate.
You can tell that is going to be good in cocktails because it just needs that edge taken off it, doesn't it? And let the cherryness come through. Headliner. I've got 3 cracking headlines, and you'll choose one. And I've got them all nicely saved on my phone to access here.
Just briefly before we go into this, did you have a particular methodology to choosing these headlines this time?
I've got a few links saved for like weird news, UK and all this sort of stuff, like from various newspapers.
Okay.
And then sometimes I'll just Google strange news or weird things.
Sam's going to read out 3 headlines that you've not researched.
Not researched at
I'm going to
all.
pick one of them and we're going to delve deeper into one of these stupid headlines.
That's correct. Are you ready?
I'm always ready, mate.
London YouTuber claims to have been abducted by aliens and fallen in love with one of them. Number 2, vicar hospitalised with a potato up his bum.
I think we have a winner.
Number 3, Swiss cheese pervert faces new charges.
New charges? Oh, fuck. I think the first one's out of the question. It's just a bit bland.
Yeah.
The ghost. That's just a crank pot, isn't it?
Yeah,
The first one.
Aliens, yeah.
I quite like the sound of the potato up the bum, the vicar.
Yeah.
So I think we run with that. Although that's only a close first place to the last one,
cheese
the
pervert.
Swiss cheese pervert re-offending.
So we're going with the vicar who's been hospitalised with a potato up his bum. Are you ready for the article?
Let's go.
This is from the Metro. This is a well-respected...
Reputable, tabloid.
A vicar claims...
That's a paradox, isn't it?
A vicar claims a potato got stuck up his bottom after he fell onto the vegetable whilst hanging curtains in the nude. The clergyman, in his 50s, told medical staff at Sheffield's Northern General Hospital that the accident was definitely not due to a sex game. Imagine that.
Whenever you say it definitely was not due to this, it almost always is.
Exactly, yeah. Nobody mentioned a sex game. Yeah. He had to undergo surgery to extract the spud from his backside, according to the A&E nurse Trudy Watson. She said, he explained to me quite sincerely he had been hanging curtains naked in the kitchen when he fell backwards onto the kitchen table and onto a potato, But that's not for me to question his story.
And it just landed perfectly in his bum.
Yeah.
That must... I mean,
so far up there it required surgery.
I just want to say, if you put a potato on the side, there's no way that potato's top on, is it? It's on its side.
Sideways, yeah.
So...
That's a loose bum.
That's I mean, that is a great catch.
There's not much more to the story. She went on to reveal other objects removed from people's derriere, including a cucumber, a Russian doll, and a carnation.
A carnation?
Yeah.
If I ever found myself in that situation, I think I'd just own up to it. I'd probably just say, let's be honest, I should have had an exit plan.
Yeah. I should have had a spare potato peeler or something like on standby. Yeah.
I did see on TikTok the other day a woman that had got like a small vibrator stuck up her bum, and she didn't want to go to the hospital. So she just went to sleep hoping that it'd sort itself out. In the morning, she woke up, it had stopped vibrating. The kid was asleep in bed. So she was like, great, but how do I get it out? She couldn't get it out.
Yeah.
She ended up calling the hospital anyway. They went in, they did surgery on it. And then at the end of it, she saw in like the kidney plates that they take things out on in hospital, and they put it on the kidney plates. She saw the vibrator on there, she pressed it, and it still had battery, so maybe there was some sort of feature on the vibrator that turns it off after a certain amount of time. Maybe like vibrator's literally built in to say like, nobody can go for 2 hours. We're turning it off.
We're going to have a safety feature in case it gets stuck up someone's arse and they can't get it out again after 2 hours.
I quite respected the fact that she was just owning it on TikTok, and now she's got thousands of like followers and likes.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit daft though, isn't it? I'm not going to go to hospital. I'll put it on TikTok.
Yeah.
You've got to question your choices there. But if she's got that many followers out of it, that's a modern day currency, isn't it? Followers and likes. So.
Elon Musk might be reneging on his offer to buy Twitter.
Yeah, I heard that it had been paused and he was organising his finances or something. So.
Now, I just want to say up front, if I wanted to get a better price on buying something, a way to do that publicly to cause some sort of controversy that might undervalue it would be one way of doing that. Now, its price is tanked. At its peak, he's offered to buy $54 per share, $54 per share, and at its peak, that stock, it was so nailed on that it was going to be sold that it was like $52, $53. So people were basically gambling that they'd get a 2% return on their investment.
Yeah.
Now it's trading at somewhere between $35 and $38. So the confidence in that deal going through is a lot lower now. And he's basically publicly tweeted. And it's great to see some of these exchanges because he's really savage with the way he treats the current CEO of Twitter. Yeah. Like really publicly on his own platform that he doesn't even own yet. Yeah. This guy's a CEO. He's just being ridiculed. For example, he said, look, 5% of the supposedly 5% of the users on Twitter are bots. He wants proof that it is only 5% as a maximum. He's basically saying if like 30-40% of the users, the regular users are bots, the value of my offer needs to go down, which is fair enough. Yeah. And he gave the analogy, he said, like, if you go to buy a house, and they say there's 5% termites in this house, and then you get in the house and all of a sudden there's 95% termites in the house, it's not the same house. The house is going to be eaten to bits. It's not got the same value, and that's fair.
Well, my experience of bots on Twitter, or accounts that I think are bots, is way over 5%.
Really?
Like, yeah, I think this, especially when you get into politics threads, there's so many people in there.
You might be a bot magnet.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. And also, is it not a bit, I don't know what the word is, but it doesn't feel very nice that he's agreed to purchase the company based on the research he's done, and now he's having a proper look at it once it's been accepted. I mean,
I think you can make an offer and it then eventually not work out. You've got to do your due diligence when you're spending $44 billion.
Yeah, so why put the offer in the first place? Why not state that you're interested in buying a company and you're doing your due diligence before you submit your offer?
I think there's argument to say if you submit an offer, it's pretty obvious you're serious at that point. So I think that shows his kind of cards on the table. Best and final offer. He's only made one offer and he said it was his best and final.
Yeah, so it turns out it's not his final.
What a liar.
Yeah.
But I thought that was really interesting. But there was a good example of him really being savage towards the CEO. I can't remember his name. But
Jack Dorsey or something, isn't it? Oh.
That was the founder.
Okay.
And he is still on the exec board, I think. But I think it's a guy called Pratt or something like that.
Okay.
Not Pratt.
Parrot.
Although he comes across as a bit of a Pratt.
Yeah, okay.
He responded to, he said something along the lines of, this is Pratt, he said, we need to make sure that we're approaching this logically with underpinning data to figure out the bot problem. And underneath it, Elon Musk just put an emoji of a turd. That was his response to it publicly. I just think it's so fucking savage.
Yeah. It's quite funny the way that he's so public with his dealings about these things.
Yeah, the way he conducts himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is quite interesting.
So it'd be interesting to see what happens with that. I suspect the deal will still go through, but he'll probably get a discount of the pro rata amount. So if there's double the amount of bots, it might take off like whatever. Like
surely he'll find something. He'll probably keep finding things to keep nailing the price further and further down. And his best and final offer that he first went in with will be his first. And
yeah, but it's fair though, isn't it? I mean, if you go to buy a house and you think it's a great house, you put an offer in, and then when your surveyor goes in and actually does the due diligence on the house, you find a load of stuff. You're not going to stick with your original offer, are you?
No, you're not.
There's a good chance you walk away.
But businesses aren't the same as a house, are they? All of that information is pretty much out there. He must have known what he was going for when he was.
I think this is the point, that that information isn't out there at the moment. Publicly, they have vehemently said that the bot problem is no more than 5%. They've been saying that all along. So this is one way of him being able to say, well, actually, what's the real deal here, boys?
Yeah. Okay.
So be interested to see how that pans out.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on that. Do you want to tell us about Amber Heard of Honk?
Amber Heard of Honk. So, the title of the podcast, Amber Heard, obviously at the moment, she's suing Johnny Depp for domestic abuse, which I find weird because it seems to me like that should be a federal crime versus a civil case. But that's, I mean, the American courts are weird at the best of times, to be honest. But so, and she's already won a case against someone, him, was it not?
I don't know.
For $7 million. This is one of the interesting things. She said she would donate that $7 million just to like clear her name and like clear her credibility to two domestic abuse charities.
Okay.
Which they've asked her in court directly, have you made those donations? And this is a great run of discussion between the defense and her. They're questioning her on the stand and they're saying, to date, have you donated the $7 million? And she's like, yes, I've donated it. And they obviously know that she's not.
Yeah.
So they're saying, well, we know that you've not. Let me ask you again. Have you donated? Yes, I've pledged to donate it, she answers. And she said, no. As we stand today, have you donated? Have you given the money? It's coming out that she's kind of playing games with the public and she's trying to raise a profile and PR and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of this is all PR stunt. She's basically pledged to give that money to get extra kudos in the market and almost like say, well, I've not done it for the money, when the reality is she's been spending that money and she's still not given the money to the charities. And the charities have confirmed that as well, by the way. So,
and there's another thing as well where if you donate a certain amount of money to charity, you can write that off your taxes or something on future income.
I'm certain that would be,
So that's why a lot of billionaires make charitable donations because they know that they can
charity starts at home.
Exactly, yeah, that's right.
But she's been nicknamed Amber Turd.
Okay.
And that's because, and I don't know the full story, but along the lines of she did a shit on his bed at some point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was just because public opinion had turned against her.
No, but obviously that's what's now happened.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp's a really popular character. He's got like a certain demeanour that makes him come across as a very authentic guy.
Yeah.
And obviously there's the Pirates of the Caribbean films where the character he plays, Jack Sparrow, is just incredible. Yeah. So there's a lot of love towards Johnny Depp, and there's a lot of stuff about drugs and stuff in the case.
Okay.
So it's quite weird to hear them all talking so candidly about how much drugs are taken. Right. Amber taking drugs, Johnny Depp taking drugs.
And what's your feeling, and has there been any domestic abuse involved in the case?
It seems like it was basically a very toxic relationship on both sides. I would not be surprised if there was basically domestic abuse on both sides. Yeah. That's the way it comes across.
Makes you wonder why someone like Johnny Depp puts up with it. Because, I mean, he must have the choice of like any woman out there, and as soon as things get a little bit toxic, he could quite easily just say, right, that's it, see you later.
Take one guess of who else Amber Heard has dated.
It's Brad Pitt or someone rich.
Elon Musk.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And also...
what happened when they broke up? Was there any allegations or anything?
I know that there's a lot of pictures of him looking very miserable when he was with her, but I don't think he's publicly come out and like said anything either way. I get the feeling Elon Musk just doesn't want to get embroiled in it, to be honest. Yeah. But there's rumours that she was cheating on Johnny Depp when she was with Elon Musk. And also, the camera footage confirms that, what's the guy's name? Something Franco. James Franco?
Yeah, that rings
the actor. He has been seen footage of him going at 11 o'clock at night to her place. And it's like, it's just not shining great light on her.
Yeah.
She is being absolutely destroyed in court. And I mean, like, publicly destroyed.
Right.
She's on the stand a lot as well, like more than you would expect them to be as well.
Yeah, there's maybe a difference between the public opinion of what's being played out in court and what's actually being considered by the judges and what the outcome might be.
There's a few memes that have come out of this.
Okay.
There's this one bit where she says, my dog stepped on a bee, and then she pulls this weird face. So then on TikTok, people have started saying, like, responding to it, because you can respond to videos on TikTok.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, my dog stepped on a bee, and then someone will be like, I stepped on an IED, and it's like a guy with one arm. Yeah. Just really like dark humour like that.
What do you know about Wagatha Christie?
Not much, to be honest. A little bit. The Vardy thing, is it?
Yeah. So there was it all kicked off when Colleen Rooney, Wayne Rooney's wife, put on Instagram, I've been finding out who's been leaking all my stories to the Sun. It's ... Rebekah Vardy. And everyone was like, oh my God. So what Colleen Rooney apparently did was slowly start, I don't know how Instagram works. Can you like block people from seeing your stories and things?
Oh, I heard this, that she like basically restricted the viewers to just Rebekah Vardy.
Yeah, I think so. That's what she did. And then she started leaking these false stories on Instagram that only Rebekah Vardy could see. And then they were being
That's a bit paranoid, isn't it?
Yeah, and then they were being printed in the Sun. She said it's Rebekah Vardy who's leaked these stories. And as a result, Rebekah Vardy said, no, it wasn't. I'm suing you for slander or for libel. As a result, the burden of proof is now on Colleen Rooney to prove that Rebekah Vardy shared these stories with the Sun.
Wayne Rooney's been on the stand, hasn't he?
Yeah, yesterday I think he's been on the stand.
He's not aging well, is he?
No, he looks horrific. But apparently he came across quite well on the stand because Jamie Vardy hasn't been called, even though apparently him and Rebekah Vardy share all of their information, so he probably should have made a good witness. Right. But Wayne Rooney,
he's been practicing at Derby though, hasn't he? He's like motivational responses.
It sounds like he came across really well in that he basically said it's caused a lot of stress on Colleen, and I've tried to stay out of it, but I do remember one time the England manager got involved and asked me to go and have a chat with Jamie Vardy and tell him to get it all sorted out. So that was the only time I got involved. So Rebekah Vardy's phone shows some evidence of messages sent to her agent, Caroline Watt. And it's saying like, Colleen Rooney has just said this, can you send it out to the Sun? The agent's like, yeah, don't worry, I'll send it over. And then Rebekah Vardy says, I want paid for it as well. And then the agent's like, yeah, no problem. So there's evidence that stories have been passed from Rebekah Vardy to her agent.
Slam dunk.
Yeah. So what it boils down to is these latest stories that Colleen Rooney used as the sort of like the trap as to whether Rebekah Vardy did actually send them to the Sun. And so there was a pre-trial hearing where the judge had to decide, is the actual offence or the centre of the case, does it evolve around Colleen Rooney saying that Rebekah Vardy leaked the stories to the Sun,
or she was the instigator
gave it to the agent who then sold it to the Sun? And it appears that it's definitely the agent that's been doing it.
Right.
So as the trial goes on anyway, and they say, well, Rebekah Vardy's phone suddenly has lost all of its history, can't find any more messages, loads of it's been deleted or lost. And
classic.
Yeah, all of her other synced electronics, iPads and all that sort of stuff have all been mysteriously wiped, so there's no information to be got from them. So they say, okay, well, let's get the agent's phone. Caroline Watt, show us your phone and then we can see the messages between you. She's mysteriously happened to have dropped her phone off a boat in the North Sea.
Yeah,
and that's gone.
That happens a lot.
It does, doesn't it?
Happens a lot. Yeah.
So that's gone.
I frequently lose phones in the North Sea when I'm travelling there.
So basically, we've got a situation where it's clear that Rebekah Vardy was passing stories onto her agent, who was then giving them to the Sun. The judge has to decide whether these specific stories that we're talking about were leaked to the Sun by Rebekah Vardy. Potentially, it might say whether that includes the agent or not. The outcome is due to be revealed in a couple of weeks, I think, but the case finished today. The last thing to note is, due to the absence of evidence to prove that Vardy leaked these stories to the Sun, the Rooney team are relying on a court ruling from 300 years ago called Armory versus Delamere. And in this case, a little chimney sweep lad.
I thought you were going to say chimp then.
A little chimney sweep lad found some jewellery up a chimney whilst cleaning it out. Took it to the jewellers, got it valued.
He didn't tell his mate on Instagram, did he?
No, the jeweller took out some of the gems and gave it back and said it's worth X amount or whatever. The outcome of that case was that if the court can tell that a key piece of evidence is missing that would basically nail the opposition, the court can assume that that evidence is the strongest possible evidence that would have existed had it not been deleted or removed. Right. And now the onus is on Rebekah Vardy to prove otherwise.
The old flip reversey.
Yeah. Oh. So they're relying on, the Rooney team are relying on this ruling to say,
that's
look,
very interesting.
If this evidence exists, it would prove beyond all doubt that this communication was ongoing. And now
it's pretty obvious that that's it, isn't it, in the moment? So it's just a case of formulating that.
And they're now saying, so the onus is now on Rebekah Vardy to manage to retrieve all of her lost messages to prove otherwise.
Wow. So it's been confirmed that he is very unwell.
Okay.
Rumours that he's got cancer and thyroid problems and so on and so forth.
Right.
And when you look at him now versus even just 3 months ago, before the war started, he looks like he's on steroids.
Is this not something that...
bloated face and stuff like that.
Is this not something that Western media tend to do on politicians around the world? Like, it seems like every American election, you've got, like... Biden's about to die, or Trump can't walk properly. He can't even walk down a ramp. And Hillary Clinton is, she was like shaking and couldn't get out of a car.
Okay. And I respect the point of view, but I mean, he does look unwell to me when you see him in the videos. We're not talking pictures here. Some of this is video footage. Whether that's true or not, it would provide an explanation of why he's sort of upped the ante. But the interesting thing is, his objective was to stop countries from joining NATO.
Yeah.
And actually now Finland and Sweden have both announced that they will be joining, which is a bit annoying because there's one country, Turkey, that are saying they're going to veto the vote to allow them to join NATO.
Right.
Which I don't know if that's a fair way of managing democracy.
Because they need a unanimous vote, don't they, in the EU?
Yeah, unanimous, which seems odd to me because if you've got 80 or 90% of the countries all at a consensus, to me that's fair game.
Although I guess when they thought of that rule, they thought that would stop the other 80 or 90% of the country voting for something that might cause like economic harm to one of the smaller countries. And so actually they're saying, no, everybody are treated equally. We only agree on things for every country, if every country agrees, which is a good idea, but maybe it's not actually working out how they planned.
My fear is because the UK has supported Ukraine pretty much more than anyone in terms of the speed of support and then the relentlessness of the support and the monetary value of the support.
Yeah.
Okay. Boris Johnson's looking after the people of Ukraine more than the people of the UK at the moment, which is kind of crazy, really.
It is,
think about it. There's one thing taking refugees in, there's one thing donating money to these people, but when you've got people on shore that are struggling to eat and feed their families, it's not the same as being war-torn, but you've got all these other countries that are also helping Ukraine. So what degree do you go to on that? So that's like a lot of people are sort of bringing that argument to the table, which I think is a fair argument. But Putin just seems to be losing the war, which makes me think that he might do something desperate. He's always got the nuclear bomb up his sleeve, metaphorically speaking, of course.
Yeah, not physically.
Yeah, he's got really long sleeves.
A wizard sleeve.
What we need is a fan to create a picture of artwork of Putin with wizard sleeves and nukes
with a nuclear bomb just poking out the bottom of it.
I've always got these up my sleeve. Drops off.
Has he threatened it at all? Has he come out?
Kind of, yeah. I mean, it's basically what they'd like to do is they do things like this shock factor. They'll say things like you'll experience something that you've never experienced before.
Yeah.
So he's not explicitly saying it all the time, but there are some of his generals that have explicitly said, we've got nuclear bombs, we can use them. Don't fuck with us. I'm paraphrasing, of course, but
and in a northern accent, not a Russian accent. Don't fuck with us.
Don't fuck with us. Don't fuck with us.
So we've got nuclear war, and then a little arrow pointing to McDonald's.
Yeah. So McDonald's have pulled out of the
war.
Of the war.
Pulled all their tanks out.
Yeah. Taking like the pin out of the Big Mac. And stuff.
Nugfest.
Yeah. So I mean, there's already loads of companies that have obviously pulled out of Russia. I think McDonald's it's got to be the last straw, isn't it? If you're a Russian person,
you're like, right, that's it. Life is not worth living anymore. Yeah,
I'm moving to Ukraine. Yeah, It's the last straw, that.
But
someone
surely,
said to me, no McDonald's anymore. I'm out.
Surely, like, you'll have like a Russian state version of McDonald's that takes over all the premises or something.
I think they're selling them, so there's obviously going to be some sort of copy thing that crops up behind it. But it's
McPutins.
Yeah, McPutins.
A windfall tax is when a whole sector benefits from a set of circumstances outside of their control.
Oh, so it's not to do with the wind falling?
No, it's nothing to do with the wind rate
Christ
declining. So the whole sector, in this case the energy sector, have all benefited from a huge increase in profits, which is nothing to do with their supply or any actions that they've taken. And therefore,
great business nonce now. Actually, ironically, some of them could be business nonces. Although I have to say, for legal reasons, that may not be the case. That is allegedly,
but not in your experience.
No.
So, windfall tax is basically something that a government can use to tax a sector when they've made billions and billions of profit that they didn't actually do anything to, make
not in their control.
Profit. Exactly. Yeah. So I think that is a very fair way of dealing with these companies, because why should they have
so the rationale for not doing the windfall tax is that they want to encourage more investment in the energy sector, green energy and so on and so forth. So I sort of see that argument and I think, well, actually, if I had faith that that was actually the case, then I would say that's a fair argument, because long term Great Britain will be better off by having green energy and would long term pay less in energy if they can reinvest billions of pounds into green energy. The problem is everyone just thinks it's corruption. So,
well, the owner of like Shell or BP, I can't remember who it was,
they've come out and said
they said, please tax us. Like, we don't need all of this money. We've already got plans to invest billions into green energy in the UK, and that's not going to change with the introduction of a windfall tax. So please go ahead. But the government just
don't seem to be doing it. Keir Starmer's putting a lot of pressure on. Keir Starmer thinks there'll be a U-turn there. But there was one thing I just wanted to mention. There was Boris Johnson a week or two ago, he was told that a 77-year-old woman was travelling around using a free bus pass in central London in order to reduce her electricity bills at home. So she was literally hanging out on buses as a way to probably socialise, let's be rational about this, but also reduce her energy usage at home as a way of coping with the increased cost.
And buses can get quite hot sometimes as well, so fair play to her.
You get some very unfriendly people on the buses in London. When I went to London a couple of years ago, and I tried to pay in cash on the bus, and the whole bus looked at me like
I scumbag
jumped into their house on Christmas Day and shat on the kitchen table. The interesting thing was Boris Johnson got absolutely crucified because his response was, "Oh yeah, the free bus passes, I introduced them to London." That was his immediate response.
So she can only go and travel around buses because of me.
Boris Johnson. And the irony of that was it wasn't him that introduced it.
Oh, God. Well, it's not like Boris to tell a lie on something like that.
Yeah. Welcome to the Goose News. Goose News. Welcome to the Goose News.
Why China is using guard geese to uphold its zero COVID policy. On China's border with Vietnam, a gaggle of 500 geese stand guard ready to honk or bite anybody who tries to enter illegally. Using geese to uphold pandemic policy may be new, but the practice is age-old. Historical records are rich with tales of geese battalions, including one gaggle credited with trumpeting the alert and saving Rome from a secret Gaul invasion, which remember
we went through,
previously covered in one of our earlier pods. Another gaggle, known as the Scotch Watch, patrolled 14 acres of warehouses protecting £300 million worth of Scottish whisky in Dunbuck in Scotland.
That's a great use of geese.
It is, isn't it? And in 1986, the US Army tried out 18 geese to safeguard radar and anti-craft installations in West Germany. The geese were so successful that the army conscripted 900 more geese for service in the region.
Wow.
Also, interesting fact alert, when sleeping, geese can leave one side of their brain wide awake and the eye connected to it open to detect threats.
That's insane.
A rare phenomenon known as unihemispheric slow wave sleep. So anyway, since October 2021, the Chinese government has deployed this so-called Goose Army across 300 miles of China's Chongzhou prefecture in an effort to stop the coronavirus from entering China via illegal immigration. Chinese domestic geese need no training. Once they establish their territory, the 5-pound birds defend it fiercely. And finally, in December 2021, proof that the idea was working, a goose allegedly honked the alarm to help catch 2 people illegally crossing the border, according to the state-funded news website.
My takeaway from that is that geese don't need training to protect things.
Exactly. That's all you need to take away.
It's instinctive for geese to be territorial, I guess.
It is, and stop illegal immigrants coming in. So maybe we could just set up a load of geese down the coast of Dover and turn the boats around.
Yeah. God, why didn't Farage think of that?
Yeah. Or help fly them over back to Rwanda.
Yeah, in all seriousness, that is horrendous, but I think did we cover that on
that was in the last pod, wasn't it?
Right. Pork scratchings. So I've been sitting on this one for a little while. I'm going to first start by asking you a question.
Okay.
Which is, what would you do if you was in a nuclear bomb?
If I was in it, probably wouldn't move in case it went off.
Okay.
If I'm literally inside the bomb.
Do you think it's possible to survive a nuclear bomb?
If you're in a nuclear bunker, I reckon so, yeah.
Okay. Let me talk to you about Tsutomu Yamaguchi. I've probably butchered his name. Tsutomu Yamaguchi.
Is he Chinese or Japanese?
He was a Japanese marine engineer and a survivor of both the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombs during World War II.
Hold on. He made them?
He was a survivor of them.
Oh, survivor of them.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Although at least 70 people are known to have been affected by both bombings, he is the only person to have been officially recognised by the government of Japan as surviving both explosions. That's got to be unlucky, isn't it? You get bombed in one city, go home to another and get bombed there again.
Is it not lucky as well, though?
Incredibly lucky. A resident of Nagasaki, Yamaguchi was in Hiroshima on business for his employer Mitsubishi when the city was bombed at 8:15 on August 16 in 1945. He returned to Nagasaki the following day, and despite his wounds, he returned to work, 3 days later, the day of the second atomic bomb. That morning, while he was being berated by his supervisor as crazy after describing how one bomb had destroyed the city of Nagasaki, the bomb detonated. Jeez. In 1957, he was recognised as Hibakusha, which is explosion affected person of the Nagasaki bombings. But it was not until March 24th, 2009 that the government of Japan officially recognised his presence in Hiroshima 3 days earlier. He died of stomach cancer on the 4th of January 2010, aged 93.
Wow. I've been to Nagasaki and I've seen where the atomic bomb landed.
Whoa, okay, I didn't know this.
They've got a peace museum, which is really good.
Wow. I actually didn't know that. That's quality.
Yeah.
But yeah, imagine seeing that and surviving it and having the wounds from it and going home and think, oh, do you know what? I think I'm okay to go back to work now.
You'd probably think you're indestructible, wouldn't you? Like, I've just survived 2 atomic bombs. Like, what else can you throw at me? Finland, apparently, have been, for a long time now, creating underground atomic bomb-proof bunkers that house, like, villages. So they've got, like, baby creches and, like, basically, like, hotels on the ground. So when we think of a nuclear bomb bunker in this country, you think of, like, a billionaire who's just created his own one out in a field somewhere. You don't think of, like, community ones, do you?
No.
So how... These Scandinavian countries are so, like, progressive, aren't they? And
I think... Yes, but also, I heard this thing not too long ago. What's the practicality of you being, like, what's the likelihood that you're going to be in the bunker when the bomb goes off? Incredibly slim. So that's only effective for the people that are not in direct contact with the bomb, right?
Yeah.
Or if there's enough time and warning that you could get in there, and that's estimated to be like a minute or two, right?
Yeah.
So that's just not enough time.
I think all it does really is give the public a sense of security and feeling that their government is there to care for them and look after them. And then you think, if the threat of a nuclear bomb is getting ever increasingly near, you think, right, let's all move to the bunker for a week or two and then see what happens, you know. And
I suppose it serves a purpose if it's used proactively like that. So
you can never see our government ever contributing costs or any sort of money to stuff that helps the population like that. It's only going to be like business owners or like millionaires that have access to these things.
No, if a bomb goes off in this country, like our government, we're going to be hung out to dry. It's as simple as that. The current government, that is.
Yeah.
So
I really do not care. Thanks for that. Nice.
Right, Liverpool.
Oh,
I've been in my element the last few weeks.
It's awful.
At the start of the season, if you'd have told me that by the end of the season, Liverpool will be on course to hit potentially all 4 of the trophies. It's now official that Liverpool have played the maximum amount of games they could ever have played, which I don't think has ever been done before.
No, it's never been done.
So that's already a record broken.
Yeah.
And the striking thing is we've basically got no injuries still.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Have they not? Has not Salah been injured now?
Minor injury. And Van Dijk, minor injury.
Yeah.
But I also think they were probably resting them. I reckon they could have played.
Yeah. They'll certainly be fit for the Champions League final, won't they?
Yeah, exactly. So we've got 2 games left. We've got to play. We are at... Where are we?
They're not playing tonight?
No, it's on Sunday.
Oh, right.
City have got 1 game left against Aston Villa. Gerrard's Aston Villa. And Liverpool play Wolves at home.
Yeah.
So we should tonk Wolves. I know they're sort of 8th, 9th in the league, but I can't see us losing that game, to be honest, which would leave us 1 point behind City if they win the game. So City have got it in their own hands, but they do need to beat Gerrard's Villa.
Yeah,
which is an interesting thing because surely he's going to be riling those players up to get them going,
massively, right? Yeah. So Villa are playing tonight against Burnley, I think, and there was talk of Aston Villa resting all of their entire team, so they're all fresh and ready to go for when they play Man City. I'm so desperate. I mean, I don't like City at all, but I'm so desperate for them to win the league.
You're a United fan, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, Carlisle United. No, family are Man United fans. Little Oliver's going to be a Man United fan. I've got a very soft spot for Man United, so I just don't want their treble.
That's changed. You were a fan a few years ago. I mean, you would never say you've got a soft spot for United. You were a United fan.
I think you can call me a United fan, but
as United have dropped down the league, you're a Glory supporter.
Yeah. Well, I also support Carlisle, so that balances that out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I've always thought if Carlisle ever played Man United, I would support Carlisle in that match.
Right.
So I'd say Carlisle are my number 1 team. But I would say I'm a Man United fan as well.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to lose that record of being the best ever Premier League team, really, when they won the treble, because that's never been achieved before.
Because that was a European Cup, Premier League and FA Cup,
yeah, that's
the
best 3 treble.
Yeah.
Best 3 cups you can win.
Quad definitely beats the treble.
Yeah.
They're saying that on TalkSport, they were saying that Liverpool will become the unbearables.
Yeah.
Not the unbeatables, the unbearables. And it's so true. We've got the worst fans in the world for that. We really do. Yeah. But it's only because we're proud of our team. But...
So Erik ten Hag has left his job at Ajax 6 weeks early because the season's finished and he wants to get stuck into all of the work that needs to be done. I think that's a positive sign. And the United youth team won the FA Youth Cup, which is a good sign as well. Yeah, I think they won it 3-1. So they've got some good young players coming through there. And Erik ten Hag, the incoming manager, has got a history of bringing youth through the team. So there's positive signs there for United. I think he said he's going to keep Ronaldo on for another season as well, which, if he's managed the right way,
I think
could be good.
There's a lot of good stuff happening at your club. I think it's in a bit of a state at the moment, and this season truly has been horrendous for United.
Yeah, there's no faith in the people at the top at Man United anymore. The decisions that they've been making over the last 10 years have been embarrassing. So I
think one of the things that summed up United fans, but they're a bit insatiable sometimes. United fans, like, you do have a lot of Glory supporters historically, people that don't really follow the team, but happy to share their opinions, on rare occasions. And some of the fans have started blaming the stadium now and the poor shape that it's in as to some of the reason why United are playing so badly, and the fan experience not being great, and the food, the choice of food not being brilliant inside Old Trafford. And it's now got the nickname of the Theatre of Bad Dreams. Is that right?
I hadn't heard that, but I am in agreement that Old Trafford hasn't been updated for a long time. And when you consider that Anfield's looking quite nice after they built that big new stand.
They're building another one as well on the other side.
They're putting a lot of investment into a stadium. Spurs have built an incredible stadium.
Yeah, West Ham have got a good stadium.
Built the Emirates. West Ham got lucky with the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
United have actually been found wanting a little bit with their stadium, and they've just left it as it is, and it is actually old-fashioned and tight, and the experience isn't as good as it used to be.
I went to the Rugby League Cup final at Old Trafford a year or two ago, and it's the first time I'd ever been to Old Trafford, so it wasn't for a football game, but I got to experience it. The atmosphere was really good, but it was rugby, so you can't really necessarily compare the two. But it did feel dingy, and it did feel aged.
I think the issue is that there's not even any plans in the pipeline for a development or a new stadium. So you think, well, if a stadiums take years to build or plan and build, you're talking minimum maybe like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
So if it's looking old and worn now, what's it going to look like in 5 years' time?
That's a great point, actually.
And actually, if the club isn't progressing back to the top of the league where it should be, it's going to be an underperforming team with a degrading stadium. I think it's a legitimate criticism of the club that they've not invested in the stadium at all.
I think it's just funny, the timing. When you've had such the worst season, then it's like, oh, the stadium's bad. Yeah, it's like you're blaming the stadium for the football, and in reality, that's probably the last on the list of things that is the problem at United. It's a problem, but really, you need to sort out the management, you need to sort out the structure, the owners, the players.
But you could do what Spurs do and actually invest in a brand new stadium, and that may help to attract bigger names again with the vision of the club.
A little bit more prestige and so on, I see that. Final thing we've got on there, you've put something on about World Cup female referees.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard about this, but they've announced today that the Qatar World Cup in this winter, I think they said there's going to be 3.
That's a wind-up, isn't it?
3 female referees during the Men's World Cup.
I don't believe you.
Well,
do they know the offside rule, though? Or are they not doing that in the World Cup 2022?
They've sacked it off.
No, okay. But VAR's still there, though, right?
Yeah, they need, but the men are in charge of that, so don't worry about
it. Glad to see it.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting to see sportsmen getting riled up, like getting fouled, where they would usually run up to the ref and shout in their face, if they actually would still do that to female refs.
Yeah.
I know there's a female linesman, and I don't know if she gets shouted at by the players.
I've seen it, yeah. She gets absolutely, they stand up to her, and not great. There's something a bit unnerving about seeing because footballers are also big guys as well. It's not just a male standing up to field. It's a big guy. These guys, they work out. They're normally big anyway because you have to be generally quite big to be a footballer.
Yeah. Stacking
up against a female who's often they're just average sized, whatever. Yeah. There's just something a bit unnerving about that because the demeanour that the players show towards another male is already unnerving enough because the refs aren't always that big, are they?
No, exactly.
So I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, I just hope the players can actually restrain themselves a little bit and respect them, but the way that they have treated referees for as long as we've ever watched football has been atrocious, really. It's not like rugby.
Very disrespectful.
Yeah. I really love how in rugby they call the referee sir, and they don't shout in their face. They try and provide an argument to them and say, no, but sir, he came over here and did this, and the referee will give him a reasoned argument back and then say, and that's my decision, done.
Yeah,
and it's all very polite.
I've always admired that about rugby, to be fair. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that goes. I think it's great that they've done that. I just, as you say, I hope it doesn't affect the way the players are.
They're definitely going to get memes of a referee holding her arm out, and then somebody will copy and paste an iron in a hand and an ironing board underneath it or something like that, or dishes in a washing machine.
It's like you've already got these memes lined up.
I have, mate. Unfortunately,
that's the end of the podcast.
That's the end.
We've covered everything. What is it? I think we're about an hour and 20 minutes in here. That'll be easy to cut down, I think.
Yeah.
Happy days. This podcast will be going out on Spotify, Audible. It'll be going out on Deezer. It'll be going out on all good quality MP3 Audible podcast
cassette tapes
platforms and cassette tape. 2 weeks' time, 8 o'clock on Thursday, the Salmon. Hit me.
2nd of June.
2nd of June. The day before bank holiday.
Yeah.
No, it is a bank holiday.
It is a bank holiday, and on the 3rd, you'll be coming around to mine for pizzas and watching Oasis Nebworth DVD. And on the 4th, we'll be going down to Nebworth.
We're going to Nebworth. Yeah. Oh, my God. So, really, the next podcast is the warm-up to Liam Gallagher at Nebworth.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't wait for it. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everyone, for watching and for listening. Yep. And we'll see you soon.
Yeah.